Alright, alright, alright. What is up everybody, and welcome back to the channel. I'm Reese Williams, and tonight, we are diving deep into what might just be the most insane, game-changing, career-altering pay-per-view in AEW history. We're talking about Full Gear 2025, live from the Prudential Center in Newark, New Jersey, and let me tell you, the roof was absolutely blown off this place. This wasn't just another show, people. This was a night that felt like it was actively reshaping the entire landscape of all elite wrestling right before our very eyes. The energy in that building was electric. You could feel it through the screen, an absolute powder keg ready to explode. We saw championships change hands, we saw blood, we saw betrayals that cut deep, and we saw alliances form that nobody, and I mean nobody, saw coming. This is the kind of night that wrestling fans live for, the kind of night we'll be talking about for years and years to come. It was a spectacle of pure, unadulterated athletic theater, and it delivered on every single promise. From the opening bell to the final shocking moments, this was a roller coaster of emotion and physicality that left everyone's jaws on the floor. It was beautiful chaos, a masterpiece of mayhem, and I am absolutely stoked to break it all down. So, buckle up because we're going on a wild ride. In this video, we're not missing a single thing. We're giving you the complete rundown, every result, every winner, my live, unfiltered grades and reactions, and we're going to spotlight all the major highlights that made Full Gear 2025 an instant classic. We're talking about the moments that made you jump out of your seat, the spots that made you cringe, and the storytelling that hit right in the feels. Let's get into it. This is Full Gear. We kicked things off on the 0 hour with the Trios Battle Royal for a massive $200,000 prize. And when I say chaos, I mean it was an absolute tornado of humanity from the jump. You had Bullet Club Gold, the Outrunners, the Acclaimed, Bowens and Caster, and the gargantuan duo of Big Bill and Keith Lee. It was bodies flying everywhere, a beautiful disaster unfolding in that ring. You couldn't even keep track of who was hitting who. It was just fists, boots, and pure adrenaline. The Outrunners were doing their thing, being delightfully obnoxious, but you knew their time was limited against these heavy hitters. The real story early on, though, was the tension between Platinum Max Caster and Anthony Bowens. These guys, the Acclaimed, one of the most beloved teams in AEW, were not on the same page. It was painful to watch, man. They were shoving each other, arguing over tags, getting into it mid-match. It was like watching your parents fight at Thanksgiving. You could see the frustration building, and it completely took them out of their game. They were so focused on their own beef that they forgot there was a massive bag of cash on the line. It was a total breakdown of a championship caliber team. Meanwhile, Big Bill and Keith Lee were just wrecking everybody. A couple of absolute behemoths just tossing dudes around like they were nothing. Keith Lee hit a pounce that sent one of the Outrunners into the next zip code, I swear, and Big Bill was just a wall of destruction. But in a match this chaotic, being the biggest dogs in the fight just puts a massive target on your back. Eventually the numbers game caught up to them, and it took a combined effort from basically everyone else to get those two giants over the top rope. A monumental effort, truly, but while everyone was distracted by the giants and the imploding Acclaimed, rock-hard Juice. Robinson was playing possum, being the sneaky, conniving genius that he is. He was waiting for his moment, the perfect opportunity. In the final moments, with all the chaos hitting its peak, Juice saw his opening. He slid in, grabbed a handful of tights in a sneaky-as-hell roll-up, and bam! 1, 2, 3, Bullet Club Gold steals the win and the $200,000. An absolutely brilliant scumbag move from Juice. And you gotta respect the hustle. A massive payday for the Bang Bang Gang to start the night. Next up, we head outside to the damn parking lot for a tailgate brawl. Are you kidding me? We got Boom and Doom, AJ and Marshall Von Erich, taking on the veterans, RPG Vice, Trent Beretta and Rocky Romero. This wasn't a wrestling match, this was a straight-up fight. They were using everything that wasn't nailed down. We're talking beer coolers to the head, trash cans being thrown, somebody got slammed onto the hood of a sedan. It was pure, unadulterated anarchy. And it was beautiful. This is the kind of stuff that gets my blood pumping, man. Trent and Rocky are seasoned brawlers. They've been in wars all over the world, but the Von Erichs brought a different kind of intensity. These guys have that legendary family grit, that fire in their bellies. They weren't just trying to win a match, they were trying to survive. Marshall was taking a beating early on, getting isolated by RPG Vice, who were using their veteran smarts to cut the ring, or, the parking lot, in half. They slammed him through a catering table covered in half-eaten hot dogs. It was brutal and kind of hilarious, but you can't keep a Von Erich down. AJ came in like a house on fire, a one-man wrecking crew. He was flying around, hitting drop kicks off the side of a pickup truck, just a blur of motion. The turning point came when he managed to hoist Trent up out of nowhere and hit a picture-perfect diamond cutter onto the concrete. Good God Almighty. The sound of that impact echoed through the parking lot. You could feel that one in your teeth. That move completely shifted the momentum and put Boom and Doom firmly in the driver's seat. With Trent completely out of it, they turned their attention to Rocky Romero. They cornered him, and there was nothing he could do. AJ climbed up onto the roof of a van, and Marshall hoisted Rocky onto his shoulders. It was academic from there. They hit the Doomsday Blockbuster, driving Rocky down onto the asphalt with sickening force. 1, 2, 3. It was over. A decisive, dominant, and utterly destructive victory for AJ and Marshall Von Erich. What a statement in a match that was pure glorious carnage. Alright, from a drawn-out war to an absolute demolition job, we had the Mad King Eddie Kingston teaming up with the cold-hearted handsome devil Hook to take on the Workhorsemen Anthony Henry and JD Drake. Let's be real, this one had squash match written all over it from the moment the bell rang. The Workhorsemen are tough dudes, no doubt about it. They're gritty, they're technical, they can go. But they ran into a buzzsaw tonight, an absolute buzzsaw of New York aggression and suplexes. The bell rings, and Kingston just storms across the ring like a man possessed. He doesn't wait, he doesn't circle, he just starts throwing hands. He gets in JD Drake's face, and they start chopping the hell out of each other. We're talking machine gun chops that echoed throughout the Prudential Center. But Eddie's chops just have a different kind of sting to them, a different kind of malice. He's not just trying to hit you, he's trying to cave your chest in. He backed Drake into the corner and just unleashed a flurry that left him gasping for air. Hook, meanwhile, was just vibing in the corner, chewing his gum, looking like he couldn't be bothered. He gets the tag, and it's like a shark entering the water. He comes in, ducks a clothesline from Anthony Henry, and just starts throwing him around with judo tosses and suplexes. It was effortless. Henry tried to get some offense in, but Hook was just too quick, too smooth. He transitioned from a throw into his submission finisher, Red Rum, before Henry even knew what hit him. The crowd went nuts for it. While Hook had Henry tied up in knots, Kingston turned his attention back to JD Drake. He hit him with that classic spinning back fist, the Hurricane, that nearly knocked Drake's head off his shoulders. Drake stumbled around, completely dazed, right into a blistering DDT from the Mad King. And that was it. Hook had Henry tapping, Kingston had Drake knocked out cold. The ref called it. It was a quick, brutal, and decisive victory. Eddie and Hook barely broke a sweat, a dominant performance that sent a clear message: don't mess with these two. Now we get to the main card, and what a way to start. For the CMLL World Trios Championships, the champions, El Sky Team, the legendary Mystico and the high-flying duo of Máscara Dorada and Volador Jr., defending against the Don Callis family's powerhouse trio of the Alpha Konosuke, Takashita, Kyle Fletcher, and the one, the only, the Rainmaker Kazuchika Okada. The roof nearly came off the place for Okada's entrance, the camera zooming out as the coins dropped. It gives you chills every single time. An absolute mega star. This match was a clash of styles in the most beautiful way possible. You had the high-octane, breathtaking lucha libre of Sky Team against the hard-hitting, methodical destruction of the Don Callis family. The opening minutes were a track meet. Volador Jr. and Máscara Dorada were flying all over the place, hitting dives and hurricane ranas that made you question the laws of physics. They isolated Kyle Fletcher and were just running circles around him. It was a clinic in tag team lucha libre, pure art in motion. But the Don Callis family are no slouches. They weathered the storm and used their power advantage to take control. Takashita is an absolute monster. He was catching guys out of midair and just planting them with German suplexes and brainbusters. And Okada, my god, Okada is just so smooth. Every move is perfect. He hit his signature dropkick on Mystico that sent him flying halfway across the ring. It looked like they had the match won, systematically picking apart the champions and isolating the legend, Mystico, but you can't count out the king of Lucha Libre. Mystico, after taking an absolute beating, started to fire up. The crowd was going insane for him, chanting his name. He fought his way back, hitting his signature springboard offense, moving like he was 25 again. The finish was pure, unadulterated chaos. Okada went for the Rainmaker, but Mystico ducked it, kicked his leg out, and locked in La Mystica. The entire arena exploded. Takeshita tried to break it up, but Volador Jr. and Dorada took him out with stereo topes. Okada had nowhere to go. He tapped. Sky Team retains in an absolute classic. What a match. From high-flying art to a gritty, nasty fight, we had Darby Allin going one-on-one with the bastard Pac. You knew this was going to be a war of attrition. Darby is a guy who seemingly has no regard for his own body, a human crash test dummy who just keeps getting up. And Pac is a ball of muscle and rage. A guy who will bend and break every rule to get the win. The animosity between these two was palpable. This wasn't about a title. This was about pure, professional hatred. The opening bell rang and Pac just mauled Darby. He didn't give him an inch to breathe. He was throwing him into the barricades, stomping him down in the corner, just grinding his forearm into Darby's face. Pac's offense is so believable, because it looks like he's genuinely trying to hurt his opponent. He was targeting Darby's back and neck, the areas that have given him so much trouble in the past. It was a calculated, vicious assault from a master of the craft. Darby was getting absolutely nothing in. But Darby's superpower is his ability to absorb punishment. He's like a video game character with an infinite health bar. He just keeps getting up. He'd take a brutal suplex on the apron and you'd think he was done, but then he'd just pop back up, a crazed look in his eyes. The crowd was living and dying with every move. They were trying to will him back into this fight. He finally created some separation with a stunner out of nowhere, and then bam, coffin dropped to Pac on the outside, the absolute madman. Darby's comeback was on, but Pac is just too damn smart. He played possum, luring Darby in. As Darby went for another coffin drop in the ring, Pac got his knees up, driving them right into Darby's spine. It was a brutal counter. Pac then went for the low blow, the ultimate shortcut, but the referee caught him. While the ref was admonishing Pac, Darby saw his chance. He grabbed his skateboard, which, let's be honest, is basically a weapon, and was about to use it, but he hesitated. He wanted to win the right way. That hesitation cost him. Pac recovered, hit a low blow behind the ref's back, and locked in the brutalizer. Darby passed out. A dirty, cheap win for Pac, but a win nonetheless. Alright, time for a little change of pace. A little bit of fun mixed with some great character work. We had a 4-way tag match to determine the next stipulation in a long-running feud. It was Timeless Toni Storm and Mariah May, the Timeless Love Bombs, against the Sisters of Sin, Julia Hart and Sky Blue, the Babes of Wrath, Nyla Rose and Marina Shafir, and the duo of Legit Layla Hirsch and... wait a minute. Bayley's music hits? Oh my god, it's Bayley. Bayley is here, teaming with Shafir. The place went absolutely ballistic, a massive surprise. This match was just pure entertainment. Toni Storm is a national treasure. Her antics at ringside, her over-the-top reactions, her interactions with her butler, Luther. It's just gold. She's operating on a completely different level right now. But when she gets in the ring, she can go. She and Mariah May have developed some really fun chemistry, with Mariah playing the starstruck protege, 2AT. Their double-team moves were a little clunky, but it fit their characters perfectly. It was charming as hell. The Sisters of Sin, Julia Hart and Sky Blue, were the complete opposite. They were all business, dark, brooding, and vicious. Their offense was crisp and impactful. They worked like a well-oiled machine, cutting off the ring and isolating their opponents. Nyla Rose was the powerhouse of the match, just tossing people around. And the surprise addition of Bayley, teaming with Marina Shafir, added a whole new dynamic. Bayley looked fantastic, bringing that main event energy and getting into it with Toni Storm, a dream interaction right there. The finish was a flurry of action. Everyone was hitting their big moves. Nyla hit a beast bomb, Julia Hart locked in Heartless, Bayley hit the Rose Plant. It was chaos. But in the end, it came down to the timeless love bombs. With everyone else taken out on the outside, Tony hit the Storm Zero on Layla Hirsch. She then tagged in Mariah May, letting her get the pin and the glory. 1, 2, 3. The timeless love bombs get the win, and Tony gets to pick the stipulation for her next title defense. A super fun match with a massive surprise and great character moments. Chapter 7. This one felt special from the moment the bell rang. For the AEW World Tag Team Championships, the champions, Brodito, that's Brody King and Bandito, defending against FTR, Dax Harwood and Cash Wheeler. This was a story about FTR's quest to reclaim the top spot, to once again be the best tag team on the planet, and they were facing a formidable, almost unbeatable-looking team in the monstrous Brody King and the human highlight reel, Bandito. A classic power and speed versus technique and grit matchup. The early part of the match was all Brodito. Brody King is just a terrifying human being. He was manhandling both Dax and Cash, throwing them around like they were cruiserweights. His power is just off the charts. FTR tried to chop him down, but it was like chopping down a redwood tree with a butter knife. Bandito, meanwhile, was flying everywhere. He hit a tornado over the top rope that was just breathtaking. FTR was on the back foot, completely unable to get their game plan going. The turning point came when FTR managed to isolate Bandito. They did what they do best, cut the ring in half and just work him over. Quick tags, stomps, suplexes, focusing on his arm and back. It was a masterclass in classic tag team wrestling, but Bandito is one of the most resilient wrestlers I've ever seen. He took an ungodly amount of punishment but just refused to stay down. He kept fighting, kept kicking out. He finally made the hot tag to Brody King, who came in and cleaned house, hitting lariats and cannonballs. It looked like it was over for FTR. Brody hit the Gonzo bomb on Dax, but somehow, Dax kicked out at 2.999. The crowd thought it was over. Brody couldn't believe it. That frustration led to a mistake. He went for another big move, but FTR was ready. They hit him with the Shatter Machine, the big rig. But Bandito flew in from out of nowhere to break up the pin. The place was unglued. In the end, they managed to get Brody out of the ring, and with Bandito having taken so much damage, he was a sitting duck. FTR hit a second Shatter Machine on Bandito for the 1, 2, 3. New champions. An emotional, hard-fought victory for FTR. Tag team wrestling at its absolute finest. Chapter 8. Get ready for some beautiful, beautiful chaos. It's time for the National Championship Casino Gauntlet match. A new title, a new champion to be crowned. The rules. 2 men start, and a new wrestler enters every 2 minutes. This was a star-studded affair. We had guys like the Ocho, Chris Jericho, the Redeemer Miro, Wardlow, Powerhouse Hobbs, just a murderer's row of talent, all vying to make history. The action was non-stop from the second the bell rang. But the story of this match, the absolute heart and soul of it, was Ricochet. He entered at number 1, the ultimate underdog, the guy with the longest road to travel. He started the match against Chris Jericho, and for the first 2 minutes they put on a clinic. Ricochet was using his speed and agility to avoid the wily veteran, but Jericho was using his smarts to cut him off. Then the buzzer would go, and another monster would enter the fray. Wardlow came in and started a symphony of destruction. Miro came in and started killing everybody. It was just mayhem. Through it all, Ricochet just survived. He'd get thrown out of the ring, but not over the top rope. He'd get beaten down, but he'd find a way to roll to the corner. He used his incredible athleticism to escape elimination time and time again. He hit a 630 senton on Hobbs to the outside, taking them both out of the action for a moment, but not eliminating them. He was smart, he was resilient, and he was fighting with every ounce of his being. The crowd started to get behind him, realizing the Herculean task he was undertaking. It came down to the final 4. Ricochet, who had been in there from the very beginning, the fresh and monstrous Wardlow, the crafty veteran Chris Jericho, and the final entrant, a returning Adam Cole. Bay. The arena went nuclear. Cole came in hot, eliminating Jericho almost immediately with a super kick over the top rope. Then it was a three-man war. Cole and Ricochet worked together to eliminate the massive threat of Wardlow, a huge moment. It came down to Adam Cole and Ricochet. After an incredible back-and-forth sequence, Ricochet countered the boom, hit the recoil, and then, with his last ounce of energy, lifted Cole up and over the top rope. Ricochet has done it, from number one. An unbelievable, star-making performance. Ricochet is the first ever AEW National Champion. Chapter 9. If you're squeamish, you might want to look away for this one. This was a no-holds-barred match between two of the most intense, violent men in professional wrestling, Jon Moxley and the martial artist Kyle O'Reilly. This wasn't about pins and submissions, this was about punishment. This was about seeing who would break first. From the opening bell, this was less of a wrestling match and more of a fight to the death. It was visceral, it was ugly, and it was absolutely captivating. Moxley, as he always does, brought the violence immediately. He introduced a steel chair, a kendo stick, and of course, a fork. It didn't take long for both men to be bleeding. Moxley was grinding the fork into O'Reilly's forehead, just trying to carve him up. But KOR is not a man who backs down. He's one of the toughest guys in the sport, and he gave it right back to Moxley. He used his technical prowess, attacking Moxley's arm and shoulder with chairs and submissions, trying to neutralize the paradigm shift. This match was a symphony of sickening sounds, the crack of kendo sticks on backs, the thud of bodies on steel chairs, the fleshy impact of fists on open wounds. They brawled all over the arena, through the crowd, up the stairs. At one point, O'Reilly locked in an armbar on Moxley on the entrance ramp using the steel barricade for leverage. It was brutal and brilliant. Moxley looked like he was about to tap, but he bit his own hand to fight through the pain before escaping. Just pure animal instinct. Back in the ring, it was just two bloody, exhausted warriors refusing to quit. O'Reilly hit a brainbuster onto an open steel chair that looked like it should have ended it. Moxley kicked out. Moxley hit a paradigm shift, but KR's arm was so worked over he couldn't make the cover properly. In the end, Moxley dumped a bag of thumbtacks onto the mat. He went for a pile driver, but Core fought out and hit a series of roundhouse kicks, but Moxley just ate them, spit blood, and asked for more. He finally caught a kick, hit a headbutt, and planted KOR with a Death Rider onto the thumbtacks. 1, 2, 3, a brutal bloody war won by Moxley. After the match, Moxley wasn't satisfied. He kept stomping KOR until security and officials had to pull him off. The man is unhinged. From one war to another. This was for the TNT Championship, a no disqualification match with the champion Kyle Fletcher, defending against the legendary Mark Briscoe. This match was personal. It was about Mark Briscoe finally getting his moment, his first singles championship in AEW, a tribute to his late brother Jay. And he had to go through one of the best young wrestlers on the planet in Kyle Fletcher, who has been an absolutely phenomenal champion. The emotion in the building for this was off the charts. This was a demolition derby. No DQ meant they could use anything and everything, and they did. We saw chairs, kendo sticks, and of course tables. Fletcher, cocky and arrogant, was trying to prove he was better than the veteran. He was targeting Mark's head, hitting him with brutal chair shots and trying to ground the chicken farmer turned wrestler. Fletcher is so incredibly athletic, hitting a springboard moonsault to the outside that was just flawless. He was in complete control for a large portion of this match, but Mark Briscoe is all heart. The man is tougher than a $2 steak. He absorbed an incredible amount of punishment, his face a crimson mask, but he just kept coming forward. He started firing up, doing his redneck kung fu, and the crowd was right there with him, screaming for every chop and every headbutt. He put Fletcher on a table on the outside and went to the top rope. The crowd was on its feet, ready for the froggy bow, but Fletcher moved. Mark crashed and burned through the table in a sickening explosion of splintered wood. It looked like it was over. Fletcher dragged Mark's lifeless body back into the ring, hit his signature pile driver on a steel chair, and went for the pin. 1, 2, kick out. Mark Briscoe kicked out. The Prudential Center came unglued. Fletcher was in disbelief. He went for it again, but Mark countered. He hit a flurry of offense, culminating in the J Driller. He hit the move named for his brother. The place was crying, screaming, everything all at once. He dragged Fletcher to the corner, went up top and hit the froggy bow. 1, 2, 3, Mark Briscoe has done it. an incredibly emotional, hard-fought, and well-deserved victory. Your new TNT champion. Oh man, this one was all about the story. A massive $1 million prize on the line in a trios match. On one side, you had Jurassic Express, Luchasaurus, and a conflicted Jungle Boy Jack Perry, teaming with Kenny Omega. On the other, you had the Young Bucks, Matt and Nick Jackson, teaming with the walking weapon Josh Alexander. But honestly, the money was almost secondary. This was about the fractured pieces of the Elite. Could they coexist? Could they get back on the same page? The match itself was an absolute spectacle of tag team wrestling. You had the power of Luchasaurus and Josh Alexander, two absolute engines, just colliding in the middle of the ring. You had the unbelievable athleticism of Kenny Omega and the Bucks. And you had the simmering tension with Jack Perry, who seemed torn between his loyalty to Luchasaurus and his history with the Elite. The Bucks were in full heel mode, arrogant and obnoxious, but their chemistry is undeniable. They isolated Omega and worked him over for what felt like an eternity. The turning point came with the hot tag to Kenny Omega. He came in like a bolt of lightning, hitting snapdragons on everyone, V-triggers left and right. The cleaner was back, but the numbers game caught up. Josh Alexander, an absolute wrestling machine, cut him off and hit the C4 spike. It looked like it was over, but Jack Perry made the save. But then Perry hesitated. He had a chair. He looked at Omega, then at the Bucks. Who was he with? This hesitation allowed the Bucks to recover. In that moment of chaos, Kenny and the Bucks found themselves on the same page. It was instinct. They started hitting their classic Elite triple team moves on Josh Alexander. It was a thing of beauty. A super kick party broke out. They were moving in perfect sync, just like the old days. They hit the Indie Taker on Alexander, then held him up for Omega. Omega looked at the Bucks, a moment of understanding passed between them, and he hit the one-winged angel. The Bucks covered Alexander for the 1, 2, 3. They win the $1 million, but more importantly, the Elite, Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks, are back together. They hugged in the middle of the ring, an emotional, powerful moment. The power of friendship wins out. This was the main event for many people, the final chapter in an epic trilogy for the AEW Women's World Championship. The champion, the powerhouse Kris Statlander, defending against the CEO Mercedes Moné. Their first two matches were classics, and this one had the highest stakes of all. Statlander has grown so much as a champion, evolving from just a powerhouse into a complete performer, and Mercedes is, well, she's Mercedes Moné, one of the best in the world, a true superstar. The atmosphere was electric. This felt like a big-time prize fight. They started with some beautiful chain wrestling, a sign of respect, but it quickly devolved into a stiff, hard-hitting affair. Mercedes was using her speed and her cunning, targeting Kris's legs to chop the big tree down. She was vicious, wrapping Statlander's leg around the ring post, hitting dragon screws. She was trying to take away Statlander's power base, the source of moves like the Friday Night Fever. But Statlander showed incredible heart and power. Even on one leg, she was hoisting Mercedes up for suplexes and slams. She caught Mercedes on a crossbody attempt and turned it into a fallaway slam that was just jaw-dropping. You could see the confidence in Statlander. She wasn't intimidated by the aura of the CEO anymore. She believed she was the better wrestler, and she was fighting like it. She was matching Mercedes move for move, strike for strike. The final few minutes were just breathtaking, a series of near falls that had the crowd losing its collective mind. Mercedes hit the Moné Maker, but Statlander kicked out at 2.9. The place exploded. Mercedes couldn't believe it. She went for it again, but Kris caught her, hoisted her up, and hit a modified one-legged version of the Friday Night Fever. 1, 2, no! Mercedes kicked out. It was an unbelievable display of resilience from both women. Finally, Statlander, running on pure adrenaline, hit a second, more impactful Friday Night Fever for the clean 1, 2, 3. A satisfying, star-affirming victory for Kris Statlander, ending the trilogy as the definitive champion. They shook hands after the match, a sign of ultimate respect. And now, for the main event of the evening. Inside a hellacious steel cage for the AEW Men's World Championship, the champion, Hangman Adam Page, defending against the Samoan submission machine, Samoa Joe. This was the culmination of a deeply personal and violent feud. The cage was there to keep them in and to keep everyone else out. But as we all know, steel cages rarely work out that way. This was destined to be a brutal, bloody affair between two men who absolutely despise each other. From the moment the cage door locked, this was a fight. They were throwing each other into the steel mesh with reckless abandon. Hangman was using his speed and his grit, hitting moonsaults off the top of the cage. Joe was using his raw power and his veteran brutality, just grinding Hangman down with strikes and power moves. Joe was bleeding, Hangman was bleeding. It was a classic cage match, a war of attrition where every move against the steel took a toll. Hangman hit the buckshot lariat, but Joe fell into the ropes and didn't go down. The chaos started when Hangman was about to escape the cage. The lights went out. When they came back on, Swerve Strickland was on top of the cage. Where the hell did he come from? He and Hangman started brawling on the top of the cage, a terrifyingly dangerous situation. Swerve got the upper hand and stomped Hangman's hands, sending him crashing back down to the mat below. It looked like Swerve was going to help Joe, but then he just sat on top of the cage, smiling, watching the chaos unfold. With Hangman down, Joe locked in the coquina clutch. It looked like it was over. But then... music hits. Hook runs down to the ring with a kendo stick. He's here to save Hangman. He gets the cage door open and slides in. But he doesn't hit Joe. He walks over to Hangman, looks him in the eye, and cracks him with the kendo stick. A shocking betrayal. Hook has joined Samoa Joe. He helps Joe lock the coquina clutch back in, and this time, Hangman has nothing left. He passes out. Samoa Joe is your new AEW World Champion. The show ends with Joe, Hook, and Swerve Strickland, now an apparent alliance, standing tall over the fallen Hangman. Unbelievable. Wow. Just wow. What a night. Full Gear 2025 is in the books, and I am emotionally and physically exhausted just from watching it. We need to talk about the sheer volume of shocks we witnessed tonight. We have a new AEW World Champion in Samoa Joe, but the story is the unholy alliance he's seemingly formed with Swerve Strickland, and most shockingly, Hook. The betrayal of Hangman Page is a moment that will be burned into our brains forever. We saw FTR climb the mountain again to become tag team champions, and Mark Briscoe finally got his emotional, bloody, and beautiful singles title moment. Just an incredible night of title changes. On top of the new champions, we saw the landscape of AEW completely reshaped. The Elite is back together, Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks, standing side by side, hugging it out after winning $1 million. What does this mean for Hangman Page, their former friend, now that he's been betrayed? And speaking of Hangman, what's next for him now that he has Swerve, Joe, and Hook gunning for him? The future is a chaotic, exciting, and dangerous place. Ricochet's Iron Man performance to become the first national champion was a star-making moment, and Kris Statlander cemented her legacy as a dominant women's champion. Every division feels fresh and full of possibilities. This was one of those nights that reminds you why you love professional wrestling. The drama, the action, the emotion, the surprises. It had absolutely everything. I am absolutely buzzing to see where all these stories go on Dynamite this week. Thank you all so much for tuning in and reliving this insane night with me. Now I have to hear from you. Drop a comment down below and let me know, what was your single favorite moment from AEW Full Gear 2025? Was it a title change, a betrayal, a reunion? Let me know. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Peace.